Okay, we're on chapter 6. Remember in the Pythagorean theorem problems, in 20 through 26 on the back page, there are 6 problems there. On your test, there's only going to be one like it. I'll give you one where I give you one of the legs, and you have to find the other leg, and you got the hypotenuse. Okay, so and we pick up here at number 10. It says, what is the slope of a vertical line? Vertical lines have what kind of slope? Undefined. Okay, real quick, like imagine for a second that I was a skier. If I look at a slope and I go left to right, that's uphill. Uphill is positive slope. Downhill is negative slope. Horizontal, guys, that's zero slope. If I'm a skier and I'm sitting on a horizontal line, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'll just stand there. If I'm sitting on a vertical line, I'm not skiing, I'm falling. That's no slope. Where's the zero at? Underneath, undefined. The zero is underneath here. As saying no slope and saying zero slope is not the same thing. When you have a zero underneath, it's undefined. When you have a zero on top, it's zero. So vertical lines like this have no slope, or we say undefined slope. If I get that one right, I should get the other one right, but just because logic tells me that if the vertical line was no slope, horizontal line must be the other way. So a horizontal line has zero slope. All right. Next question is find the slope between the 2 points. When you find the slope, you have to know the right formula to use. Okay, but the only mistake that we can make here is we forget what formula to use, or we try to get the numbers turned around. So if I want to find the slope between 2 points, I have to remember that my y's go on top. So y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So I look at the question and I plug in 4 minus 9 on top. Okay, so that's my y. So 4 minus 9 over negative 1/2 minus a negative 1/2. That's what I mean by the zero is underneath. When the zero is underneath and I'm on a vertical line, I say it's undefined. If I took that same exact problem right there, same exact problem, and flipped the points around and made x, y, and y, x, oh wait, how could I mathematically say that? How could I say if I wanted to make x, y, and y, x, what is that called when you turn those around like that? There's a word for it. Inverse. Okay, the multiplicative inverse is the reciprocal. The additive inverse is the opposite. But that idea of taking something and turning it around is called the inverse. Okay? But anyway, if I found the inverse of undefined slope, and the zero goes on top, it's zero slope. I solve for y and 8y, and they're in number 13. Because this is a great problem, and there's one about this on the distance formula. I don't know if you guys looked at this, but I'm gonna go back in just a second after I do this problem. I'm gonna go back and look at the same concept with midpoint and distance formula, because I'm not certain everybody understands what a different question this is. Okay. Notice in this problem, I'm given the m. I'm given the slope. I'm told that the slope is negative 3/4. So what that tells me is when I subtract my y's, when I do y minus 3, I got to end up with negative 3/4 over here. 8 minus a negative 8. So I have to solve this equation right here. I have to solve negative 3 over 4 equals y minus 3 over 8 minus a negative 8 is 16. Because that's different. Because what you started out with was the slope. So what you're trying to find is where that y value is. And it's going to be really different when it's a distance formula problem because of the square. Cross multiply. Cross multiply. 4 times y is 4y. 4 times 3 is negative 12. 16 times 3, negative 48. 4y equals negative 36. Y is negative 9. So if I took negative 9 and plugged it in here, when I did negative 9 minus 3, I should get something that reduces to 3/4. Let's see if it does. Negative 9 minus 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 over 16 reduces to negative 3/4. So this works. But again, guys, look at what I did. Earlier in the worksheet, the same thing in number 9, the same thing happens with the midpoint problem. As you need to try, if you haven't tried number 9, you need to try number 9 tonight. Because notice in number 9, you're given the midpoint. So you got to plug the 3 in as the midpoint. So 3 equals some value x minus 4 divided by 2. You cross multiply 6 equals x minus 4. So when I add 4 to both sides, 6 plus 4 is 10. So the x, one of the values of my point is 10. To find what the other one is, I take this y that I don't know what is, and y plus negative 10 over 2 gives me negative 4. When I multiply both sides by 2, I get 8 equals y minus 10. So when I add 10 to both sides, I get y equals 2. So I now know the point 10, 2 is one of my end points. If 10, 2 is one of my end points, when I take my two endpoints and add them together, when I take negative 4 plus 10, what's negative 4 plus 10? 6. What's 6 divided by 2? Guys, that's not an accident that this 3 is a 3. That's not an accident. Look, negative 10 plus 2. Call it out. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. What's negative 8 divided by 2? Look, that's a negative 4. Guys, that's what happens. That's how you know you're doing these correctly when they start out like that. Equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Where h and k is the center, and the radius is r. How do you find the center of a circle from the equation? You take the opposite. In our warm-up exercise today, you should have put it on the back of that sheet. On the back of the sheet, I passed you out with all that information about you. You should have x plus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 64. The center is at negative 5, 3, because you take the opposite. And then to go from 64 to 8, I took the square root. If I give you r squared and want to find r, you have to take the square root of it. Write the equation of a circle. Write the equation of a circle with the center of negative 17, 8. So x plus 17 plus y minus 8. Again, guys, it's the opposite. And guys, I don't have this memorized. I don't have the center, 4.2 squared memorized. So I go 4.2 times 4.2. 17.64. So 17.64 is my radius squared. If it passes through a point, that's what it's equal to. The center, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals r squared. Let's review now. The beginning of the day, when we came in, I said, take this one right here, and we found a point that was less than 64. Since it was less than 64, it's inside the circle. Then we did the one here that was greater than whatever. I think it was 36. So when it was greater than 36, it was outside the circle. If we take 7, if I take 7 and put it right there, -6 and put it right here, watch what that gives me. 7 minus 2 is 5. -6 plus 3 is -3. So 25 plus 9 is 34. So I put 34 right here. And I have x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 34. When it's equal to 34, it's on the circle. Where would it be if it was less than 34? Inside. Greater than 34 is outside. And so when I took the point 7, I got this point right here because it goes through 7, -6. I took that point and plugged it in. It was inside the circle. Here's another one. They're trying to get us to write the equation of the circle. The center is at 1, 3. So x plus 1, y minus 3. It passes through the point 53. So this magical circle out there, let's see. Let's mark these points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. There's the point 53. The center of this circle is at -1, 3. So the radius, guys, just all you got to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. It goes through the point 53. So just by counting, 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 squared is 36. 3 minus 3 is 0. So I find out x plus 1 equals 36. They want me to prove whether the point -6,2 is inside the circle or outside the circle. -6 plus 1. It's -6 plus 1. -5 squared. 25. 2. 2 minus 3. -1 squared. 25 plus 1 is less than 36. So the point 6,2 must be inside the circle. Watch. -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. It's right there. It's just inside the circle. And this works. I tried to tell you that one day, guys. This stuff, this inside, on, outside, it's so commonplace now, we don't even know what's going on. Like somewhere out there in this area, there's a cell tower, and that cell tower is putting out a signal. And that signal goes in all directions. And if we're inside that, it shows us bars as having service. If we're outside that, if we're in a place greater than, then it has to recognize that, and it relays us to another cell, or excuse me, another tower. And eventually, it finds a tower close to us that has enough bars. I don't know if this new tower out here made y'all's service better or worse. It made mine worse. The new tower that they put right out here by the soccer field, because it's so close, I picked it up, but the signal shoots right over the top of, when I'm in my house, it shoots right over the top of my house, so because we're so close to it. So when that tower, I had to call AT&T and say, hey, my service all of a sudden is terrible. And so what they did was is they found a closer tower or just changed me to another tower. I don't know if you've ever been dropped. What happens is, a lot of times you'll be driving around, and I go from being able to be relayed from one tower to the next tower, and usually they want that to be seamless, and it may, for a little second or two, you can't kind of hear. Well, sometimes it drops you because you get so far from one tower that you start getting picked up by another tower, and your signal is dropped. And it's just, they don't want that to happen, but when you're driving around with stuff, that's part of the problem. Right, but guys, that's this stuff right here. All right, real quick, make sure as you can look at this tonight. Number 22 here is the kind it's going to be. It's going to be 9 squared plus x squared equals 13 squared. Does it matter which one you let be A and which one you let be B? No, that's either leg. They're called the legs, guys. The leg is not the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the one that we can pick out. The hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. So 9 squared is 81 plus x squared equals 169. Subtract 81 from both sides, so x squared equals, what would that be, 87? So x is the square root of 87. Guys, all of those are worked on that. Wow, where'd I get 87 from? Like this. You recognize 88? Just a second ago I had 87 and I didn't simplify it. Now I got 88 and I'm not sure we all recognize this, guys. Look, the problem didn't buzz, it didn't ring, it didn't flash, it didn't anything. Now I got a little more work I got to do, don't I? Because the square root of 88 will simplify. 2 goes in there 44, 2 goes in there 22, 2 goes in there 11. Square root of 4 times square root of 11. What's significant about the square root of 4? Remember what you said? Circle 1, 2, cross 1 out. Can I circle this 2? This was nothing to cross out. Can I circle the 11? There's nothing to cross out. So 2 on the square root of 11. Boy, I would be so proud. I would be so proud if you took and said the square root of 88. You took your calculator and said, okay, square root of 88, hit enter. And you get an answer. It would be 9 point something, 9.3. Then about 5 seconds later, you took your calculator and said 2 times the square root of 11. Do it real quick. Square root of 88, hit enter. 2 times square root of 11, hit enter. What happened? Somebody did it. Did you not get the same exact thing? You should have got the same exact thing. When you do the square root of 88, if I do the square root of 88 and hit enter, I got 9.38. If I do 2 times the square root of 11, I should get 9.3. Wow, look there. I've got something different, don't I? So what does that tell me? No, my calculator's not wrong. That tells me I got a mistake. I messed up. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. You're not going to be perfect, guys, but you got to catch it. Just like I told you the other day, if I had to choose between making you talented and conscientious, I'd choose conscientious every time. Because you would catch that mistake right there. It's not 2 on the square root of 11. it's 2 on the square root of 22. So now, when I go back and I do 2 on the square root of 22, look, and right there, guys, there's 2 problems or 2 mistakes I've made in the last 5 minutes, and there's nobody panicked about it. There's nobody, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And nobody's doing that about me. And I don't understand why you guys give me that kind of leeway, but you don't give it to yourself. Y'all will get frustrated with this stuff and think you can't get done as you can, but you're not gonna do it perfect. You're gonna make mistakes from time to time. What I'm trying to get you to see is catch it. That was an honest mistake. 2 of them right there, guys. I said 169 minus 81 was 87. Just made a mistake. 5 seconds, or less than 5 minutes later, I forgot 2 times 11. Okay, but what I did was I took my calculator and checked it. All of these are there. They're all worked there. There's a playlist. Go to my web page. From my web page, you'll see all the problems on that whole review. Don't forget, I gave you also all the makeup stuff that you can do. Yeah. Corrections down in that back corner back there. Right there. The